I don't like adoption, period, in the end. I don't think it's necessary. Um, and I think we see it more and more as we talk to other people and hear their stories. And being a search angel and doing reunifications, I found out the stories weren't the same as the adoptee was told.
Hey there, it's Melissa Brunetti, and welcome to the Mind Your Own Karma podcast.
Hey there, Karma Crew. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Mind Your Own Karma, the Adoption Chronicles. Today, again, I have Shelly Johnson on the show. Shelly began her personal journey of searching for her biological mother 20 years ago. After many dead ends, she hired a private investigator. $4,000 and 24 hours later, her mother was found. While she was excited and scared, she was also mad. Why does any adoptee have to pay for information that is inherently theirs? This is where her journey began as a search angel. She successfully honed the tools of searching and realized a common denominator with the adoptees she searched for. They had no clue how to make the first phone call. They had high expectations and were not prepared for the roller coaster ride that is reunification. She began to not only search, but help the adoptee and the biological side with the transition of reunification. Through the years, she has become the point person for guiding both sides through this process. It is her passion and love. Here is my interview with Shelly. So we are welcoming Shelly again to the show today. Hi, Shelly.
Hi.
So Shelly was on a week or so ago, and if you want to hear her very fascinating story about being an adoptee, an adoptive parent, birth mother, all the things, go back and listen to that episode. I'll have the link in the show notes. But today we're going to talk about her role as a search angel, and I'm super excited about it. So Shelly, as representing the triad, how has your personal experience shaped your views on the adoption process and the reunification process?
Ooh, I don't like adoption, period, in the end. I don't think it's necessary. Um, and I think we see it more and more as we talk to other people and hear their stories. And being a search angel and doing reunifications, I found out the stories weren't the same as the adoptee was told. And that
Mm-hmm.
blew my mind.
Yeah.
We're lied to over and over again.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. As an adoptee, what were the biggest challenges in searching for your own biological family?
Well, it was before DNA, and I had to search, and it takes a lot to get to that point. You're done. You're ready. You
Mm-hmm.
need to find the answers, and I couldn't. And I had everything, birth indexes and everything. I just didn't know that my birth date had been changed, so I hired a private eye.
Did that make it hard for you to even search because you had the wrong birthday? I mean,
Yes, I couldn't find. I
yeah.
looked at the birth index and I was like, there's no anything matching my weight is all I had to go by.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
with only one person listed, no father. But I did call a couple of people. But the private eye found my birth mother in 24 hours. $4,000 later,
Yeah.
24 hours.
That's so crazy.
And I was like, this is not what?
Yeah.
How hard can this be? I got to figure this out.
Right.
Right? I'm not paying another $4,000 to find my father.
Right. And I bet you weren't even thinking like that your birthday was different
No,
than you have known forever.
no.
I don't know how I would handle that.
It's
Um, that's crazy. But what emotions did you experience during your search? And how did those feelings evolve over time? I mean, did you meet your biological family? Kind of tell us what happened there.
um, you know, the search in general, I think for everyone, it's a roller coaster. It's exciting and then it's scary and then you get the information and you're like, what do I do? What
Yeah.
do I do? I contacted her and we spoke and that was it. And she asked me to politely stay out of her life.
Mm,
And she informed me that my birth father had died at a young age. But then DNA came out and we can't keep those lies.
yep.
And by then I was searching actively for other people and myself. And then when
Oh, wow.
I found him 10-ish years ago, but he had just passed.
Mm, mm. So what emotions did you go through personally going through all this process?
You feel like an imposter. I have another name, I have another birth date. Who am I? And then you get the pieces bit by bit, and then it's rejection. Please stay out of my life. I haven't told anyone about you.
Were you ready
Okay.
for that?
No, I don't think anyone's ready for that. I think we have this idea in our head, even if we have great adoptive parents, we're going to have this bond with our biological parents,
Mhm.
a mother-daughter relationship or, with our father, daddy's little girl. And it's a little more nuanced than that.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared. I was not prepared.
Yeah. What motivated you to become a search angel?
All of that, all of that. And then searching deeper to find, my biological family on my paternal side and finding I had brothers and I had friends. This is before Facebook when I started searching that said, like, I'm looking too. And I said, well, I'll try to help you. I've not done this before, but I want to help you. Don't pay money. Stop. And then I would find one and then I would find another. And it just click, click, click. And I was like, okay, I have the tools. I know a little bit more where to look, how to look, where to dig. Um, and it started from there.
How long have you been doing this?
Oh, almost 20 years,
Oh, wow.
right in between my finding my mother and my father. I didn't really get into it very deep and doing reunifications till the past 10 years when it became like my job.
Your full-time job.
Yes, I was not prepared for that.
How has being a search angel changed your understanding of adoption reunions?
I get really excited for the adoptee I'm searching for or the biological parent, but I also have this little like in my heart, like, please be prepared. Let's be prepared. Let's talk about this. What are your expectations? Because even if it goes well, it can end less than a week. And if it goes bad, it can come back up. But just hold on, buckle up. It's a
Yeah,
ride.
right. What do you tell people when they're ready to search?
I mean, I say, wow. I mean, it takes a while for us to get there. Let's sit and honor this. Are you really ready? Are you ready? Because you might find some things you don't want to find out. You might find out that everything's changed about you. You were lied to. Your bio mom isn't a drug addict. You weren't born premature.
Your birthday isn't your birthday.
Right? That part. Who are you?
Right.
And and that'll have feelings towards the adoptee will have feelings towards, of course, their APs and the system, which is fine, but it's a roller coaster for them. So I'm just like, get ready for it.
Yeah.
Not going to
Yeah.
be great fun,
Yeah. I
but
just
needed.
I just interviewed a man today that Sean, he wrote a book. He was transracial, but he was raised white. He looked white. He had blue eyes
I
and
love Sean. Hey, Sean.
yeah, and that's such a crazy
Oh
story.
my God. I
And like
know.
not having that identity. And people were like, you're black. And he's like, but I don't know, I really don't know.
Yes.
And that was just a crazy story. So yeah,
Yeah.
listeners, he's coming on. So wait for
Yeah.
Sean.
Wait for Sean.
But he's really good. His story's very interesting.
Yeah.
What are some of the common challenges adoptees face that you see quite often during reunification, and how do you help them navigate?
I always like to say, don't do this by yourself. And we are adoptees. We're like, we'll do it ourselves. We are
Yes.
so strong. We got this. I'm like, don't back it up. Um, because I was finding search angels, they just find the information for you and they give it to you and then like, have a great day.
Yeah.
And I was finding that adoptees were like, well, what do I say? What do I do? And she's really not talking to me, or he's really not saying much, or they're worried. And I'm like, huh, yeah, let me talk to him. And that's how that started. And because the bio family has a whole different questions than, and they open up more to someone else because,
Mm,
there's feelings and they don't want to have them with the child. And the adoptee holds back too when the adoptee's like, I want to call you mom and I want to be in your life. So if we just take a pause and I usually just talk to them and then I come back to the adoptee and I say, hey, how does this make you feel? Do you want to keep going with this? And then the birth mom will open up. I have some birth moms, they have a whole DNA test and they're like, DNA is wrong. Don't know. We have to
what?
navigate. Yeah, we have to navigate that. I'm like, well, hmm.
Wow.
And they'll come around, but
So how do you prepare the adoptee? I mean, do you kind of give them specific, like, have you thought about this? Like you said, have you thought about what you're going to call your biological mom when what do you, how are they going to fit into your life? And do you talk about that at all? Any of those kind of things?
yeah, I think in the expectation place,
Mm-hmm.
because I think we also as adopted, we don't want to say mom. We don't know if we can say that, if it's going to make people uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we talk about like, once this happens, have you told your family? Have you told your kids if you have them? Like, are they ready for this? Because you're about to go through something here. It's like coming out of the fog times 10 when
Yeah.
you're finding and
Mm-hmm.
you need support. And I will love you and support you and hold your hand and listen to you on the phone, but you need, support within your community and your home.
Yeah, and your spouse and your kids probably need it
Gosh.
too. I mean, what if your kid doesn't want to call her grandma or
Oh,
you almost have to confer with them and, well, what do you want? How do you want this person to be in your
yeah.
life? Do you want this person in
Do
your
you
life?
want this person? Do you want
I
me
mean,
to
they
not?
may have a grandma already that they're connected with and they're like, well, I don't know this person, like, you know.
And kids are like, why do you care?
Yeah. But I don't think a lot of adoptees think about that part, though, that
Mm-mm.
there's some collateral people
Mhm.
that are also involved that you have to kind of think about too, which kind of sucks because
I
aren't we
know.
always thinking of everybody else?
Yes. Like our whole life.
So here we go again. I got to think of
We're like,
everybody else.
the Oscar goes to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I've won many Oscars.
Same.
Um, what changes would you like to see in how adoption is handled, especially regarding birth records, um, with the importance of identity with adoptees from kind of what you've been seeing with the reunification? What do you think needs to be different?
There's a whole laundry list I have, but I think if we start with, even for the studies we talked about in the last podcast with suicidality and, you know, um, mental health issues,
Mm,
if we could just get an amended birth certificate that says amended and adopted, then there can be no secrets, really. I mean, there can be, I'm sure, for if they, you know, APs get weird, but then we can be followed, tracked, studied. While I would just think adoption's probably not necessary in 99.9% of cases, there's other ways, but if we could just know, and we could have the information, why should we pay for the information? Why should we pay for DNA?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Why can't we just have it?
right. I really think that it should be illegal for anyone to sign away our rights when we have no say.
No consent.
There should be no closed adoptions.
No.
There should be no closed adoptions. You should have that birth certificate, and if you choose to do something with that information, then whatever. But I don't think your identity and everything should be wiped. And you have no say in it ever, even
No.
when you're an adult.
Yeah, you can't
Still
undo
can't,
it. No,
can't. That should be illegal.
it's criminal, really. I mean,
Yeah, if you did that to anybody else,
I know
it would
it would
be,
be
right?
trafficking or,
We're
like
gonna,
you've,
yeah, we're just gonna wipe you. Yeah, yeah. Can you share a particularly memorable reunion story with us anonymously
yes.
that you facilitated?
Um, I did a reunification for someone that was her parents did not approve this, thought, no, what do you shamed this person for this?
For
She didn't,
searching.
yes,
Hmm.
and told her lies about her birth.
That's why they didn't want her to search.
Yeah. God forbid we get our truth.
Right.
And we started, and I found a brother. And then I found a sister. And the sister said, Mom also has two other children out there.
Mm.
And reading the records of mom, it was so sad. It was so sad, and I think once a woman relinquishes, like, then this second or third, the woman's has to be broken if they're
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
And so that started. And then we found uncles and aunts, and the adoptee was able to actually move into her mother's house. Her mother had passed,
Mm.
and she moved into her mother's house with her uncle because the parents were like,
Mm.
and and I got to go up there and meet all the family. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, I'm flying. I am coming to you. We're going to have a whole family reunion. And the search goes on. We have one last sibling to find, but
Wow.
we're almost there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
How has your role changed with the technology now, with the DNA testing and Facebook? And what do you think the benefits? Well, obviously the benefits are kind of obvious, but what are the challenges with these tools as well?
Well, they're not always right. So you need to look at all your tools and then compare. It's almost like I feel like I should have one of those crime scene, like,
Yeah.
or
Boards.
like with the
Yeah, the
strings.
strength.
Like, this person liked this person's comment on Facebook. And also,
Yeah.
when I,
Oh my gosh. Do you dig that much? Holy
oh,
crap.
yes, who are you? And we find you. Um, so there's limitations, but it's so much easier than it was. I'm not really great with DNA. I can look, if DNA tells me there's a mama, I'm like, oh, I'll find her. But I'm not good at digging. I don't understand centimorgans. I will
Hmm.
phone a friend and say,
Yeah. Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
What does this mean? Um, because I started searching before that, but the tools are so much better. But also, privacy has become a different thing. So birth indexes are no longer online, and they were a
Oh,
few decades ago.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. So how do you start? What do you start with?
Ooh.
You just like with what they know, I guess, and
I usually start and I just say, okay, are you sure you're ready? I need some information. And then I tell you, 99% of the time, they say, I don't have any information. And I said, oh, you do.
mm,
I know you do. It's up here. No, it's closed. I said, I know. So we talk about the story, and then I call him back in a week and say, let's say the same story to me again. And more comes out. I think I heard she was in, and she went to this high school, but I don't know. And I'm like, high school's great. Let's get into the yearbooks and let's do the things.
hmm.
And then I just start from there, whatever, because you have nowhere to start if they haven't done DNA. And some adoptees don't want to do DNA.
Mm,
They're scared of it. So we start with what they know. We start in the town, and sometimes it's talking to old neighbors
wow.
around areas. And especially if it's a small town, it's easier. They always know who that pregnant girl was
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
disappeared. Um, yeah. But
Mm,
adoptees have more information than I think
they
most
think
of.
a lot of
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
What are some of the most challenging searches you've worked on, and how do you stay motivated when it
Um,
gets complicated and lengthy?
I've been working on one for almost 2 years, finding the rest of the story.
Mm,
And then as pieces come together, it's really hard to tell the adoptee who is related to these people that it's not so great. There's some stuff going on in there. There's s- abuse that will, I don't want to have to tell you this about your mother. I don't want to have to tell you what your father did. Um, Things like that. And then, because I think it's important for answers, but also you need to know this and this.
Yeah. So how do you deliver news like that? I mean,
I'm just, we all want truth. We don't like lies.
yeah.
So I'm like, are you ready to rip the band-aid off? Sit down. Let's sit down. I'll be here. We can cry together. I want to cry. Also, you were a product of, it could be incest or your father was a pedophile. There's so many, it gets weird.
Yeah.
And that's their identity too, you know?
Right.
So when you
Yeah.
say words like that, you're talking about them. And that's what's
Mm.
hard.
Do you ever feel like you're the only one struggling and feeling stuck? We all carry hidden burdens, but there's a way to find relief. Somatic mindful guided imagery can help unlock your inner peace and heal past traumas. Discover the power within. Visit somatichealingjourneys.com because everyone deserves a lighter load.
So, in your experience, how important is emotional readiness for the adoptee and the birth family? Is that a kind of an indicator of success when you're emotionally ready?
Yes. I can tell when an adoptee is ready because they keep asking me questions and they keep trying to send me more information.
Mm.
Now, birth families usually think the adoptee is coming for money. That's their first question.
Jeez Louise.
I know. I'm like, oh my God, we're not related to you in the eyes of the law, ma'am. Like, no, that's not, no. Oh, no.
Yeah.
And then, so a lot of times it's like when you and I were born, mamas didn't say that to their new husbands, or they did, and then they didn't tell the children.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have to explain to the bio family. We just start out with, hey, they just want answers, health history. That's it. They deserve that. You have that information. You don't have to make contact.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually they give that and they call me back a couple weeks later and say, well, we are interested in knowing, and then it kind of goes from there.
What do you think the ratio is of like when you contact biological family that are excited about reunion and not excited about reunion? What do you think?
It is usually it goes to it's like 80% excited, but then that drops to 50 really
Mhm.
quickly. And I
Wow.
don't know if that's outside influence on the biological parent through kids, adult children,
Mm,
wives. It goes down pretty quickly. And
wow.
that's the hardest part because the adoptee, we get our hopes up. This could be something. I get to meet people and then it goes quiet.
Wow. Yeah, you probably then they start thinking, oh, this person doesn't know. Oh, these people don't know.
Yeah.
Or yeah. And
And
then maybe they're thinking about where this person's going to fit in to, if you have kids, I could see some jealousy and like,
mm-hmm.
with the
It's usually
siblings and
it's usually siblings and a wife.
yeah.
That's where it comes from.
And I think maybe you're kind of blindsided by that, maybe not thinking that they would feel that way, but I can see, I mean, I might feel that way. I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know,
not saying it's wrong, but I'm just like,
Yeah, you
it's
don't.
just all complicated as far as,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Or, you receive a call. Oh, yeah, your 40-year-old
yeah,
is
that
looking for
nobody knows
you
about.
that nobody knows about.
Yeah, maybe you do want to know them, but nobody else,
Oh, and I have
it's,
some that meet in secret. They still meet in secret. I'm
yeah,
like, well, okay,
that's sad.
it is.
That is sad. Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't either. I just
How
say,
do you advise adoptees to contact biological family? Should they use a mediator or what?
yeah,
How do you
I think
advise?
so. I say use a mediator. Use somebody that can talk the language of adoption. If you don't use me, you don't have to use me. Here, I'll give you your information. Somebody that understands adoption and somebody that um, is able to speak without emotions surrounding adoption or being a biological parent. Because both sides they're both sides are petrified. They're scared.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can just tell both sides, that's normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think use a mediator. I know so many people that say, "Oh gosh," and they do the weirdest things. We're so weird sometimes. We're like private eyes and stalkers.
I was relieved that the detectives that I hired would made contact. But I have
Okay.
seen on Facebook, and I can't remember where I saw it, but it was other search angels that were saying, "Oh no, you should make the call because that might be the one and only time that you hear that person's voice, if they don't want to talk to you." And I don't know.
I
I
don't
feel like
either.
I was grateful. I didn't want to be the one to hear maybe a rejection or,
I know
you know, uh,
or
soften the
hesitant.
blow.
We're gonna read into every word they say, and you
Yeah.
break and pause.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I'd be afraid I'd say something wrong or dumb or something, and then, they would hang up. But I'm like, you've done this before. You handle it for me. Thank you very much.
that's all right.
I've paid you quite a bit of money, so you can
Right.
do that for me.
You're like, please take that money and earn it.
Right. What do adoptees and birth parents need to understand about this process, and how do they overcome the obligation piece of the adoptive parent's role in there?
They need to understand that there are still adoptive parents and biological mothers or fathers need, well, I think, myself, have always felt really timid about making a relationship with my daughter um, because of that. And I think adoptees, even though we can get out of our fog, there's layers. And that obligation piece, oh my gosh, it still layers up for me. And to know that it will be bumpy and you might even be rejected and you might hear some really bad news. And I tell both sides this, but you will know the truth and the answers because I know you, mama, daddy, have always thought about this person.
Yeah,
And I know you, adoptee, always thought about these people.
right. So if the adoptive parents are totally against it, what do you advise adoptees? How do you advise an adoptee that has to navigate that really wants to search?
If they live with them, if they're younger, sometimes I'll talk to the APs
Mm.
um, and just say, this isn't about you. Sorry.
How do they
This
feel about being
that
told
I'm like that.
that? What do you mean?
What do you mean? It's all about me. I paid for this child. And some of them come around, but a lot of them, my parents were fine. They're fine with it. But when I said I was rejected by my mother and my father passed away, of course, there's, you know, yeah, great. Sorry. Um, but getting over just knowing that it goes really bad a lot of times, especially if they're living close to or with the APs, to just know they're going to have some feelings, and I guess that is normal to feel, you know, the adoptee is going to replace them. The adoptive parent has a place in that child's life, but the biological parents have an even greater place in the fact of history, health.
Hmm. Yeah. What is your experience with second rejections and reunions, and what advice do you have when you have to navigate that part with adoptees?
It's so hard. It's just saving space, and there's nothing, you know, there's nothing really to be done. You can hope. Sometimes I'll still reach out to that family for them every now and then and just say, hey, I just want to urge you to really think about this. XYZ adoptee is so appreciative of the information. Um, what do? You just you just put that as another like kind of nail in your whatever. It's heartbreaking to see.
Yeah. So you are still currently helping people. How can people find you, and what do you actually offer? Because I know you have a website too, and
I think a lot of people find me through other people. I don't think on my website that I talk about being a search angel.
Hmm.
Sometimes if you open that floodgate, it's a lot,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that want to know. And I'm on Facebook and people reach out to me or get my number from somebody. But it's pretty easy. You just look me up and if I have time and just know like it's not gonna it could be overnight. I've done an
Mhm.
overnight, like this is perfect. Beautiful.
Wow.
And then there's like, here we are 2 years later, still not having all the pieces. But yeah, just look me
Yeah.
up.
And your website, it's you have DNA tests.
The DNA test, it's the answers we deserve. And I just get donations throughout them. It's not like a big thing. But if you need a free DNA kit, you just go to the website and say you need it. And I put you on the wait list and send it out when it comes.
Yeah, and
Just
if
be,
you're an adoptee and want to donate, they can do that through the
yes,
site as well.
they can do that through this site as well. And then sometimes people get them for Christmas, a couple of them. And I'm like, well, if you want, send it on over. I will pay it forward. Because
Yeah.
I just don't think we should ever have to pay the state for an amended birth certificate, even DNA, a private detective, to know what is inherently ours, our information.
Yeah. Yeah. So what have we not covered that can you think of anything that I haven't asked you that about reunions?
Um, I think we pretty much covered it about, going in with expectations, knowing how bio family can react,
Hmm.
siblings can react. They're scared, adoptees scared. The biological family is usually going to tell more to me as far as how they feel. And so will the adoptee. And then we all get on the phone on three-way. That's how we end it. We do a
Oh,
three-way
okay.
call. Yeah, we do a
Okay.
three-way call. I'm like, are we all
Oh,
ready?
nice.
And then I drop out. If they're talking and it's going
Yeah.
with the flow, I'm like, I'm out. You're great. And then if it's quiet, I'm like, so adoptee would like to know, some hard questions they don't feel comfortable asking. But I know we've talked about it, mom, and
Yeah.
then we get it going
Okay.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you like those struggling to find their biological families to know?
I think I can say it's worth it. Even with rejection, it's worth it.
Yeah.
And when you get to that place, when you're tired, when you really want answers and you want to stop this facade of you and start the work of you, it's worth it,
Yeah.
even though it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to add, to be compassionate and kind to yourself through that process. Um, and really examine your feelings and feel all the feelings and um, you know, and I think the big piece too is the expectations, like you were saying, try not to have any as
No.
best that you can because you just don't know what's going to happen or turn up. So if you can try not to have a fairy tale of how it's going to end or it go, I think that's best. Just kind of go with the flow and see
Yeah.
how you feel through the process. And
Expect nothing,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
and hope for the best. And
yeah.
not many, not many, not many stay going.
Yeah. What percent do you think of the ones that you've reunified that you've heard? Why do you think
Mm,
that is? Like, why do you
guys,
think? I don't.
I think they want to be the same because they're the same people, genetically. And then they just realize there's so much time.
Yeah.
You lived your whole life. And this other person has their whole life they've lived. A lot of times it ends up with the siblings.
Mm,
I don't know if
yeah.
you ever found any siblings.
I have, but they were little. Well, my two brothers were like 12 and 7, so they were,
Yeah.
Um, my sisters were older, but I didn't really meet them. I don't know. It just never. Well,
See, it's always something.
yeah.
Yeah. that part.
Right. So yeah, I guess there was a little bit there of worry. I didn't understand it, but yeah, there was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't get to go to my birth father's funeral because of it. I wasn't told till 3 months later.
Mm.
For all was said and done, because I think there was fear.
Yep.
So
It's the fear. It's the fear.
yeah, yeah.
Or it just falls off. You don't have anything.
I think we just feel like this is biology. Our puzzle piece is going to fit right into
Yes. Cool.
into the whole picture, and it's going to be perfect, right?
Yes.
But
Complete. No.
yeah. And
we're usually the oldest. So
Mm-hmm.
there's like younger siblings that in college, even younger than that,
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
rightfully their children. I don't know how,
I
it's
know.
weird to
Yeah.
say that, but yeah.
Legally.
Legally, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm about to interview Lorraine Gerald about her birth father and
Oh,
how she didn't have a say in his healthcare at the end there, and so we're discussing that. So be looking for that episode as well.
I will, because that's the thing. We don't have any rights.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for everything that you do. I mean, that's amazing. And keep up the good work. I know there's a lot of people that can't afford $4,000 to find
I couldn't
their
either.
biology. Oh my God, so ridiculous.
I know.
So anyway, I want to thank you for that. And thank you for coming on and talking about this subject and sharing what you have learned through the reunification process and giving us a little bit of insight as to how to navigate that.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't navigate it.
Call Shelly.
Phone a friend. Phone a friend.
Yes. Phone a friend. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karma Crew, for joining me for this episode today. If you would like to be a guest on the show, if you are an adoptee, a birth mother, an adoptive parent, and want to tell your story, get in touch with me at mindyourownkarma@gmail.com. Let's get your story on the podcast. Are you struggling with navigating your adoption journey? Somatic Mindful Guided Imagery can help. Get in touch with me at Somatic Healing Journeys, smgi@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, somatichealingjourneys.com, to learn more about me and this somatic modality. I also offer free consultations, and you can schedule that right from my website. As always, take what you need and leave what you don't, and always remember to mind your own karma. I will see you next time.
This podcast is created for educational purposes by the telling of adoption experiences. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or Mind Your Own Karma.